There we go. We are live.
Talking up to the minute, up to the second.
Yep, right there. And we switch now to a whole other topic.
Oh my goodness. Well, happy. I guess not happy. There's nothing. It's just November 7th. There's no day attached to this.
It's Friday. I mean, that's
Friday. I guess that's the thing we can wish for people. Yeah. Here we are in November.
Yep. Are you due to get snow? We're getting cold. If you're on the East Coast,
we're getting cold. We could look up tonight and perhaps see the northern lights if we could stay awake late enough. So that's kind of the hullabaloo in our area. I mean, it's cold, but I don't think it's snow cold. We'll probably get some rain, but I think it's like in the 40s where I am. So that's not really, we're not quite snow. We're just cold. We're just going to be cold and miserable tomorrow. So
that's kind of where it's rain today, tomorrow night. But we actually, my wife is heading in town because we need to prepare for a hard freeze sooner than we anticipated. So I was like, oh, we got to go get the stuff because anyway, life on a farm. But yeah, so for anybody going into the weekend, maybe wet and cold for those on the East Coast. But
podcast recording yesterday with somebody who happened to be down in Oklahoma City, but had previously lived in Southern California, and I just every now and then like November hits hard, and I'm like, man, like what are we doing? Why do I, of all people who love beautiful weather and beaches and all that, why do I not live in Southern California? Anyway.
Yeah, well, what is nice and toasty is all the news this week. There was a lot of hot news this week.
I was gonna say, like, we're going there. No,
you see what I did there?
That's your segment. I was gonna say there was, but we're not talking about that. Anyway, okay, yes.
Oh no, now I'm curious. So, what exactly were you thinking about? But anyway, we won't get into that. So, whatever it was,
boundaries. There was, but before we get into that, let's just do a shameless plug for your Grit Forum because that's coming up. And I think that, last week we talked a bit about this. I just think it bears repeating for people to block their calendars. You've talked about how important this iteration is. And, I know there's a lot of chatter about it. It's sort of in email threads around the world. So
truly is. I'll tell you, I've spent the last week actually diving deep, thinking I'm actually before this started, drawing the implications for Greenbook, for all of our clients. There are, there's a lot of change happening, and which again is probably a segue.
Another segue.
Yes, because it was an interesting week, and there's a lot that we didn't cover. We're not going to cover on this. But if you're watching headlines, especially on like Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg and those type of things, you'll get the stuff we're not going to cover. Just pay attention to the news, right? Tech, all of that stuff. It's just what a crazy week it was. Yeah. Anyway,
well, I don't know much about this Betsy Jane Peterson award. I know this came into
either.
your. All right, so applications are open for the Betsy Jane Peterson award. It's funny because even I saw that you had shared this. I think you got it in an email from MRII. Somebody shared it in my network and LinkedIn. MRII and UGA, they're giving 5 seats into their Principles of Market Research course.
Yep.
Worth checking out. You can nominate members or apply yourself. I think it's an opportunity to maybe upskill on research methods. So throw your hat in the ring for that one.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly why I thought we should show that. I am on the board of the UGA program as well as the Michigan State program. They're both fantastic. This is something that MRI does with UGA. I even thought about doing it myself, but I decided not. But definitely a good opportunity for somebody who wants to upskill for free. So,
and you might have seen kind of in the Green Book news, like our partnership with MRII has kind of like leveled up. They're now in our podcast network. Their podcast is now in the Greenwood Podcast Network. So we are distributing their podcast for them as well. They are, hosting one of our expert channels now, Executive Insights. And, so our two organizations have kind of just, again, leveled up our partnership quite a bit. So hats off to them and what they're doing, and thank them, for what they're doing for us, bringing us content too. So
100%.
cool. Yeah.
100%. They've always, they do good stuff. And everybody knows Pam Bracken, right? The whole team, they've just always, they're just good folks.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It was, I guess the next just general news, in case somebody wasn't aware, the Kimberly-Clark acquired Kenvue, which was J&J, basically the CPG arm of J&J.
Yeah.
So Kenvue's been a client over the years, so I know that it's been, for many suppliers, it's been interesting transitioning from J&J to Kenvue. Well, now it's Kimberly-Clark as well. So be prepared for more change on that.
Well, and I just think that is a huge portfolio. Then
Absolutely.
that's a huge portfolio. That's now a grown database or data, set of data information. I don't know what else that kind of, that the expanded portfolio might deliver for the industry or bring to the industry. But certainly if you're working in that category, this is something to be aware of. Think about how many brands are now under that umbrella. It's mind-blowing to me.
100%. And and they were already transforming, just kind of insider perspective, but people know this, that as they transitioned from J&J into Kenvue, their model is a very flat and decentralized organization. They were changing, they were rejecting the DIY solution. We're very focused on having, partners and suppliers focused on kind of the science of brand growth model. So a lot of non-conscious measurement and behavioral, really into those things. We'll see what happens now as they now integrate into Kimberly-Clark, but it should be a good opportunity for a lot of suppliers. If you're already engaged with either one of those or both, great. But it's going to be, it's going to be craziness for the next few months.
And it's reminding me of GSK, spinning off Halion. Did I say that right? Oh my gosh, is that right? Halion. Sure. How they did the same thing with their I might be saying it wrong. Anyway, with their CPG division, right? Or OTC division. And years ago, I had worked with them on a switch team, right? So for people who are switching between the pharma business and the OTC business, and I, would be thinking that there's this great benefit of having both. And now I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Selling it off, interesting.
Yeah.
Because maybe that benefit of having both in your organization is not the strategy at the moment. So anyway.
Well, 48.7 billion. So so there's certainly some benefit in
exactly. Yes.
Somebody's benefiting.
True.
But I'm glad you brought this up, because it also, we spend most of our time talking about changes happening in the supplier space, and consolidation in mid-market, and but oh my goodness, we're going to see more deals like this happen, particularly in CPG, et cetera, and of course, underneath all of it is going to be looking for synergies and technology efficiencies and all of those good things. Which is just part of the ongoing transformation of the world and how that impacts our industry.
I do know we do have some brand side listeners too, so I'm sure the brand marketers that I knew were always tracking brands at play as their own entities to be paying attention to. So
100%.
Interesting time to be on brand tracking work. Let's see how some of those how those different brands do in this kind of a transition. Just all interesting stuff.
Well, and the impact, which I think we get to a little bit here. There's some conception or perception around brand versus product. There's so many interesting permutations will, and I think particularly as we get into the news around the lawsuit with Amazon and Perplexity, that there's just.
I can't wait to talk. I feel like, should we just go there before the product launches?
Let's go there because that was profoundly interesting.
Profoundly. So Carly, we're jumping way down to the story. It's in our brief. You'll find it. But Amazon has now made moves to stop Perplexity's agent from making purchases on Amazon's platform. And of course, Lenny, we've been talking about that agentic buying for, several weeks now. I just think this is so interesting because
Amazon wants to own it.
All right, let me read about this. And, some of the things what they're claiming is degrading the Amazon shopping experience. It introduced privacy, vulnerabilities. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, it's stopping people from browsing on your site.
Exactly.
It is literally stopping impulse buying. It is exactly you're looking for one thing and my agent's going to help me find it versus what else can I put in my Amazon cart? The whole Amazon feature of like buying things together. I forget what the feature is called, but like you can put something in your cart and it's like, or do you want to buy these things also?
Yes. 100%. That and now Amazon would want their own agent. Right. Because it's optimized for that process. So yes, I think that was what jumped out of, like, we've talked about the battle for the browser, right? Yeah. And the battle for search. And this is the same, it's a variation of that same issue. Yeah. And when we have agents that we've empowered to just, nope, this is all I want. Just go execute this task. I'm not browsing. I just want this thing. Yeah. That impacts the business models of retailers that, it's like, it's the equivalent of, the end cap in the store, right? Or the checkout, right? That was the candy at the checkout.
I know there is something. And, what's interesting is, the Amazon experience, I don't hate, right? Like I like going to Amazon for inspiration. Like it's, the one-stop shopping nature of it, it's I enjoy if I'm ideating around shopping. Like I don't mind the ideating, I was okay with doing some of that ideating in the browser. I think we talked last week where I was talking about, I was going to getting, it was like pulling up Betsy and stuff like that, Etsy. And I was like, all right, like I'm ready for this to be broader, but the retailers are not ready for it to be broader.
They're not. So it's just indicative of the profound, these profound changes. And that was, kind of hit it again. Look at the news this week, right? Follow the money. We ain't seen nothing yet, right? I mean, this is like a preliminary shot across the bow of incredibly profound changes that are being fast tracked at the consumer level. That effect that has just so many ripple effects. Let's go ahead and, while we're there, the tech developments, talk about the AI as a service and AI affecting SaaS, because it's a very similar thing, right? This agentic focused process is no longer about buying big ass seat licenses for huge platforms that do a lot, because it's a very specific function. Right. It's a verticalized specific function, whether it's shopping for consumers or analyzing social media data or whatever the case may be. The business model impacts of these technologies are really coming to the fore right now. They're incredibly disruptive.
In this Tech Buzz article that you found, there's a quote from it: 85% of new workflows and a majority of VC money flows are now going AI first and industry specific in the rush to vertical AI. So, we've kind of talked about, SaaS products being, bye-bye, like it's not where it's all at. 85%.
85%.
Big deal.
And that vertical AI, I think that was really interesting, because my first thought was, what, CPG, pharma? No, this definition of vertical AI is business function specific. That's the vertical. So, I mean, we have, there's levels of it that can include, specific function for pharma or CPG or whatever. But that's really what they're talking about, is a business function process. And but you think about it. I mean, some of that's really minute,
Yeah.
procurement.
Yeah, I was going to say big procurement implications. And Lenny, I think as we're sitting here talking, I'm like, I think we have to take a step back because for people listening, I feel like this could be, I don't mean to condescend, but slightly over people's heads. And what I mean by that is, when we first started doing the show, we were talking about the platformification of research, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
everything's been a platform. And we are aware, like, you all have platforms. This is a platform. All of the vendors in our ecosystem are like, we've got a platform for this. We've got a platform for this.
Yep. Yep.
That's what we're talking about. The model that has been the way of life in our industry is getting turned from this horizontal platforming to verticals where there's layers and agents in the mix.
Yep.
That is what is inherently different.
Yep.
That make I don't know how else we can explain it to people, but I want them to understand we're talking about a change from that wasn't that, I think, a word, platformification?
Platformification, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Into something other.
Well, that next article, and we'll just put that in there, Carly, from the VC Corner, argues that AI is forcing SaaS to abandon seat-based pricing for hybrid or outcome-based models as AI agents compress labor and introduce volatile compute costs. Anyway, it's about it. What it argues about how you price value and outcome. I mean, what a radically different concept for technology, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we would calculate, all right, what is the value to me in paying for this, and time, efficiency, all of those things. But it's kind of spun on its head now, and because the time is being compressed, and so therefore the cost should be compressed. And then how do we calculate value? So from a business, you're used to, I'm just, you're paying $20,000 a year for a license for a data collection platform, right? And you've got 10 seats, right, in doing that. This changes that calculus. Why am I paying that much?
Right.
When this is just more efficient for me now. So, and how do you, if
I don't need 10 seats.
Right. I don't need 10 seats. Absolutely. Right. But how do you, I haven't talked to anybody about this yet, Karen. So we're getting extremely cautious because I've been excited to talk about this.
No, but I think it's the beginning. We've
so
talked loosely around this, this, like, we're disrupting the SaaS model. And now we've got two kind of articles that are saying, hey, we're disrupting the SaaS model. So I'm like, we have proof points to what we've been saying, which, and this article, the one we're talking about now, they talk in there that now we have to start to treat pricing strategy as an extension of product strategy. They're very much, this is all a part of it. And some people might say, well, yeah, we've had pricing strategy in the mix, but it's different now because it's tied to how users are now going to be expecting to use your service, and in conjunction with what else, and how is it bundled for procurement departments? And
it's the outcome, right? So what is that outcome-based pricing? I get it as a consultant, right? For service, having some at-risk compensation, based upon impact. But that is a really different model for technology. And then think about, if there is a variable component, what does that do if you're a VC, right? An investor, even a business owner, the ARR is, that's the number that you look at when you're building a technology platform, because it's predictable. And I sell 100 licenses at 20 grand a pop. Here's my annual revenue. Here's, and you break it down from there. Adding variabilities into that, it just has, again, profound ripple effect implications across the board, and thinking of how we value, how we assign value to things. So which ultimately drives pricing.
Yeah.
Um,
And all of these, and we'll get back to the product and feature launches, as I think it's time. But
yes.
everybody who's introducing agents into their workflows and thinking of all of these incremental time savings, or these I don't know, the savings that is going to happen, like of how these agents are going to serve your clients well. If you're doing that work, which we hope that everybody is, because we have said, AI in your platform is some table stakes, but you also have to think about how you're pricing your products, how you're pricing your platforms right now, because that is changing as perceived value starts changing, and as procurement is going to start to demand a different model.
They already are. I mean, I'm hearing that consistently. And, I think 6 months ago, we thought, the price of compute is going to increase, et cetera, et cetera. It is not. Price of compute is coming down. These engineering scale problems around power and compute and all that, that's being solved on a daily basis at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just an implementation issue now. So all that, it decreases costs.
Yeah.
So do we get to a point, like McKinsey? I mean, we all know McKinsey can charge $1 million for a segmentation project, but Lenny Murphy Consulting cannot charge $1 million for a segmentation project because I'm not McKinsey, and the perception is that the value is less, the value production is less.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, and we're kind of in that world now where technology platforms have to, sell on value creation.
Yeah.
As well as consultants, and it's just so interesting, guys. These are profound. They impact the business model of our industry. Everybody listening. That's why we're doing that. So to your point, let's get into
talk about some of the launches, because all of you that we're about to mention, all of your new features or new products that you've launched, I hope you are all listening and hearing the first 20 minutes of the show and what you might need to do with your pricing. But
right. And they're all examples of this process that we're talking about. Exactly.
So you talk about GWI, you know them better.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that's something we've expected to see, something like that. So GWI, primarily Global Web Index, built brand tracking, syndicated solution. One of the big players, along with Morning Consult and Mill Brown, Kantar, and YouGov. Anyway, and it's a survey-driven process. That basically they conduct a buttload of surveys, and then they syndicate all the brand tracking. Now, similar to what Morning Consult announced just a couple weeks ago about their APIs, so this was more specific, that they are integrating their audience data, survey data, into Claude and Salesforce and ChatGPT. So bringing real data from real people into AI assistants. How long have we been talking about that? Right. So this is not quite as far as what I still expect to see of one of those companies buying a panel. But directionally, very, very similar. Getting research data directly feeding into AI systems, not as an adjunct, but as a direct feed into the AI to help inform it from a training standpoint. So it's a brand new revenue stream for GWI, and a augmentation and asset to the AI platforms. So big deal, right? Hint, if you're listening, you especially if you own data assets, you really need to be doing this. So
So Peekator revamped their survey platform, keyword platform. Anyway, so they've added question types, they've added AI probing, some auto coding, one-click PowerPoint, which you and I were talking about 2 years ago. Like, we like that. We like
absolutely.
We like the one click to our output. It's going to be quicker study setup, quicker synthesis, streamline your kind of your process there, so your deliverables can happen faster. To me, this is a speed move, a necessary speed move to what their platform is doing, and saying, look, we can do things more efficiently now, period.
Yep. Better user experience. They talked about that. Actually using words like beautiful, which you
Yeah.
don't think about often. With there's a few platforms out there that have leaned into that. But
Yeah.
so good for them. SightX, similar, right? Platform. Their advanced automated segmentation. Speaking of segmentation, $1 million segmentation projects. Well, not anymore.
Right. Right. Fine.
Yeah, McKinsey, if you're using SightX, you might want to rethink your pricing.
Well, again, this is our caution. Sorry, the caveat is we want you all to look at your pricing, and we want you to do that so that you can be strategic about it and not lose this race that you are in,
right?
Because your pricing model doesn't fit the future. So,
right,
okay.
Because technology streamline the process, and great example with that. With SightX. This was interesting. This next to the Cursory's Brisk platform, which I have not seen.
Myself neither. Yeah.
But building ethical AI compliance and guardrails around PII detection, anonymization. But it wasn't just that. It was like the type of questions you can ask.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting. I am still very much personally on the fence on this whole AI nanny. I'm not. I just my personality, I don't particularly care for that.
Yeah.
But I understand the value. I understand the value, and this is the first company I've seen in our space that is building that in. Of like, no, you can't do certain things. This is too powerful. We're putting limits on what you can do overall, and I think it's probably inherently a good thing, even though it's just an interesting thought process to think, sorry, that was my take. And
I'm going to bounce. Sorry, Carly, to Tom Woodnutt's LinkedIn piece about becoming guardians of validity. Yes. So we have that down at the bottom of the brief, just so you can track Carly. But in this kind of thought piece that he's written. He's doing it like it's a call to action for everybody to take these are like literally take responsibility for your development. This is right in his LinkedIn post there. Develop a playful relationship with experimenting with AI, which, full support. Position yourself as guardians of validity. And that phrase, that guardianship, bouncing back to why this Cursory's programs shouts at me and probably to you is the maintenance of this oversight, this ethical compliance. Like, let's not forget that matters greatly right now.
Absolutely.
So that will speak to users who are still holding that in their heart and not necessarily throwing caution to the wind. And they're really into that. I think that's a strong move. Reducing privacy risk and audit headaches and all of this other stuff that could come out of the use of platforms. Hats off to them. I think it's interesting.
Yes, I think even though I'm still personally challenged with some of these concepts, it needs to be discussed. It needs to be out there, and we need to be addressing it, because ultimately, for the research industry, I would say that we do have an ethical obligation for truth.
Right.
Traditionally that is our role. And we are dealing with technologies that we don't fully understand, that sometimes can twist that inadvertently. And to Tom's point, that it reiterates the need for the human management and intervention, so that we can keep ensuring that we are providing truth that empowers appropriate decision making, whether you're a business or a government.
So thank you, Tom, for putting this one out there, because I feel like what we don't want is a quality scandal, AI scandal, the way we just had a quality scandal. Like, we want to avoid that. Let's learn from this current data quality ecosystem that we're in right now, which is like, holy cow, things are really messed up in the world of data quality because we have so much fraud. Let's get ahead of that for this AI journey that we're on and make sure we are being transparent. We're doing our bias checks, and we can defend the work that is coming out of our systems that's integrated AI. So
that is a wonderful point, Karen, and I really appreciate you going because I hadn't even quite made that connection in my own head. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no scandals. Let's be scandal free.
Let's be scandal free.
We have enough to worry about with the disruption. Can we not
do.
Also
we do. Let's shout out to our friends System One, the test your ad competitive edge, expanding its creative testing offerings. So they continue to do that. And I would argue, there's a race to see who's data currency in specific areas. System One certainly has a viable stake in the ground to be be that around ad testing. And boy, what an industry that is being impacted, right? So glad to see them continuing to lean in and say, we still need to test this stuff. Yeah. So that was cool. Our friends at iMotion, version 11 of iMotion expanded their biosensor eye tracking support. Look, there may see all the news this week around the robots. You think all those robots are not equipped with cameras that are doing facial coding and tracking? I mean, of course they are. It's built in. It's companies like iMotions that are helping to pioneer that and deploy it across other use cases. So, all of the biometric, non-conscious measurement, stuff is just baked into the tech that we use every day.
Yeah. You think about what's the guy in Stop and Shop's name, the little robot that's walking around all the time. I don't know if you. What's his name? I think he has a name. Anyway, I haven't really thought about the fact that robot who is scanning the aisles for messes is also scanning us as shoppers.
Oh, hell yeah.
All of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't opt in, but maybe you do opt in to being recorded by the robot just by showing up in the store. Never really thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, and anybody, seriously, look at the viral videos this week around the launch in China of some of the robots. There's like Robot Week in China. I don't know what the hell is going on, but in some of the stuff there was just like, here we are. Here we are.
I know. It's so interesting. It really is. It's so interesting. So, anyway,
we're going to see them in stores. So maybe we're not seeing that. I don't know which one you're talking about, but by the end of next year, if they have he doesn't
even look like a thing. He's like it's fine.
It's like a cute little thing.
Well, he's like tall and thin. He just has eyes at the top. He's like this metal pole on wheels, but he has eyes or something. Anybody who knows the one that I'm talking about, I hope you're laughing right now because I'm sure I think it has a name, and I'm sure there's a better description than like a gray metal pole with eyes. But that
maybe. Although let's put it out there. All right, here's a challenge, Karen. Will you accept a bet? Let's make a bet.
Oh, a bet? I don't get bet for money. Very
okay. It won't be money. We'll figure out what the stakes are.
Okay.
Here's my overall bet. This time next year, the must-have big holiday gift.
It's a little robot. You think little robot?
It's going to be some type of robot.
Yeah.
Right. Some type of robot. I mean,
look, the way I think I've said this now week after week. Like I picture a Roomba, and I'm like, it's not a big leap for me to. I don't have a Roomba, by the way, because we have a lot of stairs
and dogs.
Although I have seen like dogs that sit on them and cats that sit on them. Anyway, so I don't have a Roomba, but I could picture a Roomba-like thing, a little bigger than that, where I can be like, oh, can you? Like I have this coffee cup right here, right? The coffee's cold. I don't want it anymore. Sure would have liked to put that on a Roomba and have it bring it right to my kitchen for me. Like these are these tiny little use cases in my house where I'm like, I'm down for the little assistance.
Yeah. Although it was interesting, I know we're out of time, but this was interesting. The Chinese thing, everybody saw it, the one wrapped in, it was like in cloth and it walked just like a human. And people were like, that's a human in the costume. And they cut it. I was like, no, it's a robot. Point was, it was interesting that they said this is not for home use because home use is too complex. The environment's too different, et cetera, and it's not for manufacturing because the way it's made, the hands wear out. Instead, their use case for this very humanoid robot was working in a store, customer service, those type of things. So that was just an interesting thought. To your point,
it's going to be refolding the clothes that we take off the shelves when we're shopping for clothes. Do you know what? If you have ever worked in clothes retail, which I did, when I was like,
I did as well. It's pain in the butt.
Every now and then when I have a bad day at work and I'm like, I could just go to the Gap and start refolding sweaters. Like, just go refold some sweaters. But that task, yeah, let a robot do that. I think that's a great use for that. So.
Hey, look, I'm skeptical of all that, and my wife is as well. But I'm willing to bet that if we this is just the laundry robot, or the dishwasher robot, we would probably both be like, okay, that's good. That one's hard to resist.
The laundry folding robot in particular.
Yes, the laundry folding and putting away.
Yeah.
And putting away. Anyway, we digress, but it's just.
Look,
it's just
I really want to talk about and here we are 34 minutes, but I want to talk about Grant's class, and it's a bit of a plug, but I have not read a course description that I'm like, damn, I want to take that course in a long time.
Yep.
Like, really think it would be interesting. So what we're talking about is Grant McCracken, who you've had on the podcast. It's one of our markers on the wall, right? Back in the day. A master class called Culture Camp. It just sounds so interesting. And in there, it's like for people that need to see culture clearly and act on it fast. And there was, caught my eye when you go to this website, there's a picture of, Timothy Chalamet on there, which is, a million hearts for Timothy Chalamet. But I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in. I want to know what's the cultural impact of tracking someone's career like a Timothy Chalamet or a Cardi B or, even just anybody in pop culture. Like, what is it you need to know? Like, what is he going to be teaching? To kind of decode cultural icons or cultural moments, and what it means for your brand, and how this culture analysis is going to be critical in an kind of an AI-led world.
Yep.
I'm like, I am so interested in this class. So,
and Grant is
sign me up, Grant, and I am in.
Well, it just so happens I may have a hookup for you.
Oh, well, if you hook me up. If you hook me up, then I may let us feature more about robots in a future episode.
Yeah, you guys follow the link. Grant's awesome. A cultural anthropologist, professor at the Chicago University of Chicago, blah blah blah. But his specific thing is kind of looking at the future lens through data, and I love that about Grant's. Why we've been buddies over the years. But to your point, that's also all the stuff we're talking about. There's massive, profound changes that affect not just business but humans. So.
To me, I'm like, cultural anthropology lens, speaks to me as somebody who has, earned a living talking to people and understanding people. And then also just, having done plenty of anthropology myself, or in the world of ethnography, not really anthropology, but, adjacencies. Anyway, my point is, really cool course. I'd love to get in on this one. I'd love to hear if you're getting in on this one too. Like, if that sounds like appealing to you, like, shoot me a LinkedIn message or something, because we can talk about it together. Because I think that is one of the coolest offerings to come out in the last year. So I'm psyched for you, Grant.
I think so too. I will follow up with Grant and Steve.
Unexpected, but
no, that's okay. I think it's helpful, right? More, and that's also last thing. I know we keep going on. For us as researchers, as we expand our value and all this, as process becomes automated, it's this type of stuff that helps us increase our value, that is innately human, and make sure that we still have jobs.
Maybe also indulge some curiosity at the same point.
Absolutely. Hey, we should have fun with what we're doing no matter what. But here's a great example.
Well, but it to me, I see it, stepping out of myself for a minute with this offering, I see it as if I were to work on a brand. And again, I know a lot of brand marketers, so I think about them a lot on the brand side. If I were a brand marketer, I'd want to know which of these cultural moments we need to yes, that's a bandwagon we have to hop on, or let that one pass. We're going to look like idiots if we go after it. And I think that just the ability to discern would be an expectation in a course like this to start to figure out, how do I know which, I've done a lot of work with brands over the years talking about, who can be a brand ambassador, who's a fit for our brand, and that sort of thing. In ideation, it always comes up. What celeb can we partner with to kind of elevate our brand to the next level? On a lot of beauty brands and others, other food and beverage brands. But being able to discern, this is an icon we should affiliate with. This is one we shouldn't. This is a moment we should just let walk right on by, or this is a moment we should stop and invest in. I just think that would be hugely valuable to brands.
Absolutely. And that predictive element, right?
Yeah.
That which is the other side of what we do. And all right, we've been, I wouldn't say it this way to advertise the exchange, but this is what we do every week, right? We look at this stuff and we're trying to predict. Now, to an extent, we're trying to put the pieces together and predict in a fairly narrow focus. The courses like this help us expand that.
Yeah.
And think about first and second and third order effects and potentials, which, brands need to adapt. So when that moment comes, oh, yes, Karen said this was a possibility. Well, shit, here we are now, but we don't want to touch that one.
Right.
To your point.
Right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They know they have more skills to discern, human skills to discern. Right.
Yeah.
Because if you ask AI if I should jump on a bandwagon, AI is going to say, what a great idea. Here's how you can do it. Because AI doesn't think critically about that sort of thing. AI would think, if you say, what about this? It'll say, oh yes, here are the pros and cons. It's just not going to it's not going to tell you, yeah, that's a good winning idea. Right. You still have to have those skills.
Let's wrap with this last thing because it ties all this up. Clark University in Quinnipiac built a multi-agent virtual town to simulate real marketing behavior and word of mouth effects. This was a paper, so it's an academic paper. It really is intensely interesting from the idea of early, we're talking about using LLMs to do early stage ideation and concept testing. Well, this is setting up a system of agents that have personas and are reacting to multiple variables in a simulated, kind of like a Sims kind of world, I guess. For early stage prediction and testing, right? So not a replacement for what we do, but an augmentation at a very early stages. Let's just see what happens. It's a really interesting paper. Really encourage folks to. I guarantee you, we're going to see a commercial launch of something like this here real soon. Yeah.
And didn't we talk? I think it was either last week or the week before, where we're like, gosh, if you want to, do a little more than we're bringing to you on Fridays, like check out what the universities are doing, because man, 100%. Student researchers are cool, or PhD academics are cool.
Absolutely.
Just cool stuff.
ARXIV. I don't know how to pronounce it, so that's how I'm just gonna put it out. I mean, you can get lost in there. There is so many cool things, of papers that to be looked at in there. It's amazing. So there we go.
There we go. That's just a little short episode today.
Guys, let us know, because we keep freaking out thinking we got to get back shorter, but we seem to have a hard time doing that, and probably because of me running my mouth too much.
No. It is what it is. Yeah. We could use feedback. We could use an email, theexchange@greenbook.org. Little feedback on whether you guys are too long-winded. Tighten it up. We don't have time for 45 minutes, let alone 40, let alone 30. I can barely do 30. So let us know what you think. We're always welcome, or you're always welcome to give us that feedback in our inbox.
Absolutely, you won't hurt our feelings. Or if you love it and you're like, no, keep on going. All right, let us know that too. So.
Yeah, look, if I do that, it shows. There we go. It's my favorite thing. Whenever you do that, Carly, I'm always like, ooh, and I can show it.
Very cool.
Yeah, let us know. We'd welcome feedback. And in the meantime, we'll see you next week.
Yep. Everybody take care.
The 14th, I think. Friday the 14th. We're still ahead of Thanksgiving. That's all I know. I just have to keep.
Thank goodness.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Stay warm, etc.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.